Hey everyone, welcome back to Lunch with a Trojan. Got a special edition today. Another player. We had Talanoa Hufanga last week. Today we got redshirt freshman wide receiver Kyle Ford. You can follow him on Twitter. Oop, I gotta change that. I gotta put that up there on the screen. It's Ford_Kyle. Let me move his little thing down a little bit, and that'll fix it. Sorry about that. Now you should be able to see it. Ford_Kyle6 is your Twitter handle. You're pretty active on the Twitter, right, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm pretty active on there. I mean, sometimes I'll tweet some stuff, but it's kind of like I'm more on there just lurking a little bit. So.
All right. Yeah. Well, you, as athletes, you got to be everyone. We all have to be careful what we're saying on Twitter and stuff, but you get to lurk and see what's going on, see what people are saying. But we appreciate you coming on. Like I said, former 5-star wide receiver at Orange Lutheran High School back in the day. I kind of want to talk first about the recruiting process a little bit. What was the deciding factor that you ended up coming to USC?
I mean, for me, mostly like I feel like I'm not just a football player, and like obviously in like recent times and stuff going on, like you start to realize that a little more. You're a lot more than a football player. So for me, it was all about like the school aspect and making connections for after football, because one day it's going to end and you never know what could happen. So that was the main factor for me, is just I wanted to live in California and I wanted to make connections with people out here, and it'd be super easy to go out there and network from here. So
the first time I got to see you extensively, this was, I mean, the most memorable performance at the opening that I remember seeing. This was when they used to have it up in Oregon. They have them down in Dallas. And I forget what the weekend, it was like 2 days of games. I'll start putting up some of the highlights. You caught like 15 or 16 touchdown passes over that entire stretch. It was pretty crazy what you were able to do there. I'm sorry that I should have teed up the highlights a little sooner, but man, do you remember that weekend, and like, what was it like?
Yeah, I for sure remember that. I think that might be one of my best weekends of football I've ever had, I think. But it was a good experience. I mean, being able to go out there and just compete with a lot of guys and earn a lot of respect from a lot of the top guys. I mean, I remember guys out there going against guys like Stingley, obviously a lot of guys going to Florida State, a lot of Florida cats out there. Everyone was out there. So it was good to go against them and earn like a lot of respect out there. And the talent out there was crazy. It's just like a whole nother speed. It's like I remember getting past guys, and sometimes they would like catch up. I remember Derek Stingley was one of the most memorable ones for me. I remember first play I scored on him, and then I caught like a comeback on him, but I thought he was gone. Like I thought I had him way gone, and all of a sudden he just like hits me from behind. I'm like, bro, this kid is just different. Like he's so fast, and just like the way he's able to move and be so athletic is amazing. So I think just that was the biggest thing for me, is being able to compete and be able to excel against like top players in the country was the biggest thing for me. It's a big confidence booster for sure.
I mean, it was only like 6 or 7 games, and you caught like, you were in the mid double digits. It was like a ridiculous. I mean, just the fact that you were able to have those many opportunities to catch touchdowns, it was just kind of crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And it definitely helped to have Ryan Helinski back there, my high school quarterback, for sure. So that was definitely a plus. And obviously Graham Mertz, I love Graham Mertz. He was a great quarterback on the team too. So, and a lot of people went down on my team, so it just made me have to step up a little bit. So, yeah.
So you have that big opening. You start your high school, your senior year of high school, and then about halfway through, you had this unfortunate, knee injury that you were rehabbing for. What, maybe kind of talk us briefly through what happened from that injury.
Yeah, so I remember like it was yesterday. It was like final drive, Mission Viejo. We were coming down. We were going to win the game, and I had like a route in the slot or something like that, and I kind of got the linebacker off his heels a little bit, and I was trying to go inside, and I I think I was a little just too strong for myself. I just completely threw the linebacker into my leg trying to get by him, and it was kind of like a collision like this, and it just kind of I remember it was like gunshots to me. It was like you could hear it, and I was freaking out at first just because in my life I just haven't been really. I've been blessed enough to not really be hurt like that. So when it happened, it was kind of just like surreal to me, and I got up, and I remember like something happened on the field, and I think someone said something, and I got up, and I was like, I'm good, I'm fine. Walked out the field, tried to come back in the next couple plays, and like it just felt like a loose screw, and it was just something I've never felt before. So I was just at that point I was a little concerned. I never really thought the worst of it, but I was just kind of concerned about it, and then it ended up being that. It was difficult. It was difficult to hear. Obviously, like first time like being hurt like that after coming off like a very confident like showing like from the off season and stuff like that, and being able to go out there my senior year. But yeah, it was just different for me. That's all it was. I think it's good for me. It was a good challenge to get past, and it made me stronger mentally. So for sure, I think it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, what was that rehab process like? Because you basically, you get the surgery and you have kind of like half your senior year, and then you get to USC, and then you're rehabbing, but then you get to the point where you can actually be on the field and play for the last few games.
Right. So like starting that rehab was really tough for me because like it was something I just never been through. So like I didn't know what was right, what was wrong to feel. So like I was always concerned. I always didn't want to overdo it. I didn't really like I always pushed myself, but I didn't push myself past pain and stuff because I didn't know what was okay to be painful and what was okay and what okay was not, and like stuff like that. So it kind of started a little slow. I remember I started slow just because it was different to me, and then I started working up from there. But like it was just like I said, it was just like very different. I'll just put it that way. But it was definitely tough just because obviously an injury like that is definitely not the easiest thing to come back from. But yeah, it was good. But I mean, working into it in the season, like changing the pace off an injury to come from high school to college, it was for sure different. Because I remember I first came out there at the Colorado game, and I remember being out there like, oh my gosh, bro, I'm really out here like college football and stuff like that. It was kind of surreal because I haven't really practiced a whole lot and stuff like that, and I just got thrown out there. But it was good. I mean, being able to be physical, I mean, that's like I think the biggest thing for me. I like obviously like when I play, I like to play physical. So being able to hit somebody was cool, I guess. Special teams is a lot harder than it looks for sure, though. So.
Did you feel like the knee was stronger afterwards? And you mentioned like the physical aspect. Here, I'll put a picture. I mean, looking at you during the season, it just looked like you bulked up. I don't know if that was by design or that was part of the rehab process, but man, you looked pretty buff last year.
Yeah, I felt I'm not gonna lie, I felt really strong, probably the strongest I've ever felt in my life. But I think at times I don't think like as big as I was getting, I don't think I managed it the right way. I think I kind of got like I still felt good and I felt fine, but I felt like a little heavier than I used to be, and it wasn't a thing of fat. I just think I was just putting on a little like a excess amount and stuff like that, and not really managing how much I was weighing and stuff like that until I got to USC a lot, and they started managing it a lot better and being able to take a lot of pressure off my knees. But I for sure felt strong though. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I just needed to manage it a little better coming off an injury.
That the new rule, obviously you get to play 4 games and still redshirt. So yours kind of worked out okay for you where you did get to practice some. You caught that touchdown. I think I got a picture of the touchdown you caught against Oregon. It wasn't obviously a great game for USC, but I mean, that must have been a surreal experience for you.
Oh, for sure. Obviously, I'm a competitor, and it's always not fun to win and not be able to be out there and help your team, like especially coming off injury. It's obviously not fun, but I mean, I had a good game of special teams that night, and just the opportunity came, and one of my main things is to flash. So it's like that's my saying. Like,
As far like we put up a picture of Michael Pittman there, was he one of your mentors or any of the guys on the team that were kind of mentors for you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, he was for sure one of like my big brother right there. I still talk to him all the time. Obviously, I'm good friends with his brother Micah over at Oregon. But like he was a big mentor for me. He took me under his wing. Obviously, being able to watch him while I was injured, it just made me just see what kind of a standard needs to be set and stuff like that. And obviously, he would pull me. I would pull him aside, ask him questions all the time, be like, "What? How do I do this better? How do I do this?" And he for sure was like a big brother to me. So like I'm really happy he got a good draft in that draft this year, and I'm really excited to see him play for the Colts and stuff like that. So it's cool.
So by the end of the year, obviously you get to play in a game, you get to play in some games, you're okay. Then this is weird off season with the coronavirus stuff. What was the beginning of that like for you, doing these kind of workouts at home and trying to kind of, instead of having, only have that one spring practice, what was all that like for you?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it just felt like high school again. It just felt like being able to just like work out your own pace. It was like, bro, I could wake up at 10 o'clock and just go manage my own workout. I'm cool, bro. Like it was cool. I'm not gonna lie, I really liked it. Being able to connect with like a lot of guys from your high school that you used to play with, coming home and work out with them and stuff was really cool for me. I think that was like the biggest thing, is being able to spend time with family and stuff like that and still be able to work on your craft in your own way, in a sense. So it was cool. I liked it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. And then, so there might be some people watching that don't know, there's, you had this unfortunate incident happen again, where now you tore the ACL on your other knee
Right.
fairly recently. We don't want to go into details of the injury and stuff right now. Everything's kind of fresh, but did you feel like did you have the same kind of feeling maybe the first time when you tore it from the other knee?
I mean, when it first happened, it was just kind of like I had a sense of it, but I thought I was fine. Like I thought I was good. Everything was good. Next day, no swelling, nothing. Like last time, I remember I came back and I couldn't walk for like 3 days, and I was like damn, it's not probably not good if I'm not walking. Next day, I was walking around the house. 3 days later, I was running miles around my neighborhood and stuff like that, going back to what I was doing. And then I just did some little rehab and stuff. I go checked it. They're like, oh, it still looks strong. I mean, it still looks good. I was hopping around, cutting on it and doing this and that. And here and there, I'd feel like a little like jerk or something like that. And I was like, maybe it's just something small. Like I just need to give it some time, something like that. And then I eventually got to do a football workout on it, and it was fine. And then one day I was just like, bro, just let me figure out what it is, figure out if I'm gonna be fine and stuff like that, so I could treat it. I could know what to do to treat it, and we could get it going and know what I need to do, what I need a little more months and stuff like that. So I went in, got my MRI, everything went smooth at the MRI, and then they called me on the phone. And they were like, yeah, bro, like, I don't know how you did it, but you like tore your ACL and stuff like that. I was like, damn, like just having to go, it was kind of like a moment of shock for me. It was just like broke down a little bit. Obviously, it's never something you want to hear as an athlete. It's not a fun process, especially just coming back and just being able to feel, finally, I was just starting to feel good. I was getting my speed training back. I was feeling fast again, really fast, feeling really starting to feel smooth in my routes, stuff like that. So it was just something not easy to hear. And I just remember having a conversation with my dad, just being like, hey, bro, it sucks, but you have 24 hours. Like, you sit, and I just realized at that point, like, that's 24 hours. What am I going to sit here and feel bad for myself? Like, I'm not going to sit here and feel bad all day. It's like, that's not going to get me any better, Like, it's just not gonna push me forward. I'm just gonna cry about it all day and worry about it. Like, okay, like let's get surgery and we work from there. So from there and this point on, like I feel like it's kept my head a lot stronger. I'm like, some people feel really bad, and I've talked to some people and they feel bad. I'm like, hey, if I don't feel bad, you shouldn't feel bad. Stuff happens. It's a game of football. It's a game of life. I mean, stuff happens. You can't cry about it. You got to get over it and get over that hump. So honestly, like now, like I just see it could be a blessing. I mean, the way things are going, it's a good time to have it. It's a good time to rehab it, be home and be able to rehab with certain people and be able to go back and forth and get different opinions and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but you got to get through it. It's stuff happens. And obviously when stuff like that happens, you look up different situations and people that have overcome it. Is like Tyrann Mathieu. He's got 2 ACLs, stuff like that. Frank Gore has 2. Thomas Davis had 3. There's a lot of names out there. Like a lot of people have stuff that happen, and it's just like a normal thing in sports. No one should ever have to go through it, but I mean, it's part of the game, and like it's sometimes the price that you pay to play this game sometimes. And obviously, I have a great support group around me. I have great family, friends, all the coaches at USC, other coaches, stuff like that. So I'm in a good spot. My mental is really good right now. So yeah.
And just to let everyone know, that's the whole reason we're having you on the show. I mean, it's a fresh injury. Obviously, the mental anguish you go through rehabbing the first time and you coming back. But we were messaging, just full disclosure, we were messaging a little bit, and your attitude was so positive. I was just like, this would be great for the USC fan because you were so positive about it.
Right.
That's the only reason we asked, and great Clay Helton was, allowed you to come on, and
Right.
so that's the only reason, because you had such a positive attitude about this.
Right. Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's just something you got to get through, and the only way you can get through is being positive. I remember Coach Mustin over at USC, one of the strength coaches on the strength staff. He really instilled in me to just be positive. I remember coming off my last one, I wouldn't say I would be super negative, but I would just kind of be like, bro, like, why is this not going right? Why is this happening? And he's like, bro, like, you just have, like, you got to stop thinking like that. You got to be more positive, and stuff will go your way. You'll see your life start to change. And I brought that into every aspect of my life. So I'm really thankful for him to be able to help me with that type of mindset in football and in life. So it's something that you carry over. My main thing in life is to use everything into, like Coach Helton says, he says, take something in your toolbox and be able to apply it and take some pieces from every little piece and every person. So I'll take pieces from that and apply it into multiple things in my life. So
the one thing you said when you rehabbed your other knee, how strong it felt.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's sometimes where there could be an imbalance there because you felt strong on that side? It could have put a little bit more pressure on your other knee.
You know what? I think that's the main reason why stuff went the way it did.
Really? Okay.
Honestly, like, it's not uncommon for this type of stuff to happen. So like being able, I remember, like, on my leg, my right leg felt really good, but I just don't think it ever caught up to that left leg and being able to just handle that pressure. I remember even, like, sometimes in, like, workouts and stuff like that, I would kind of limp a little bit and I would kind of be heavy footed on my left. So it was just enduring a lot. And I think maybe just one day it just didn't decide to work, and that's just what happened. So I think now that's why I'm not too mad about it. I'm starting to feel like, even starting right now, I'm about maybe like a little over a month out, and I feel like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel amazing. I'm walking around fine. I feel strong. I don't have the same issues on my right when I started. I already bend it really good. Got strength. There's no shakiness in it. The quads waking up. I'm actually kind of almost scared in a way. I'm like, bro, it should not feel this good already. Like, I'm over here, like, almost trying to, like, move around a little bit, and I'm like, hey, just calm down, just take your time, but it feels good. So everything is good. I'm really, really happy about it. So
yeah. A lot of well-wishers on the YouTube. I've been putting up some comments. Linda just says, you have such a great attitude, wishing you much success in your future. Fight on.
Right. Thank you so much, Linda.
Yeah. Did they give you a timeline, like what they think? I mean, obviously it seems like you're ahead of schedule from what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, there's no specific timeline on these type of things, because most of it is all about, you could handle it the best you can. You could work out every day. You could do whatever you want, but it's all how your body wants to heal. So it could be anywhere from like 6 to 12, just depending on it. But like the way I'm going, I mean, I don't have anything to rush. I'm just going to want to feel the best I could feel. And like, that's when I'm going to come back. And there's no rush for it. I mean, till like the next season, I have 14 months about. So like, I there's no need to rush, and I'm going to feel good, and I'll be able to rock and roll by then, I'm pretty sure. So we feel good. And learning how to manage it better a lot from my other one is a big piece. Just like the mentality is just different this time. I just feel like I know what it's like. I know it's okay to feel certain things, and I feel like that's why I'm just excelling a lot more in this second rehab. So,
Do you know what you're going to be doing if there is a football season during the season? And is there a part of you that's kind of rooting like, hey, if the season's postponed, that might be better for me. I won't even miss any time.
well, I mean, I'll never root for that because I love my guys on the team, and I always like to see them be great and excel. And I love it. I think that's a big piece for me is just being able to see my people around me excel. I think that's where I've gained most of like my success, and I think that's where I feel fulfilled a lot is making people around me better and seeing people do good around me. And I mean, if it happens, it happens, and it would be fortunate for me, but obviously that's not ideal for everyone else. So
one of your good friends, I believe Ethan Ray, went through a similar thing. Was it nice having kind of a support system there? And I don't know if you know how he's doing right now.
Right. Obviously, I've known him since kindergarten. So,
wow.
yeah, we've been cool since kindergarten and stuff like that. So, I think the main thing with him is being able to be like, hey, bro, is this okay to feel like this? Is this okay to feel like that? And I think that's basically where we bounce off each other, and which is good in this type of rehab because he makes me feel like it's fine to be feeling a certain way. And he asked me like, is this fine? Like, I kind of feel weird. And I'm like, bro, it's fine. Happened to me, this and that. So I think that's the main support part that we kind of bounce off of.
Your main role is going to be, rehabbing and getting healthy again. But
Right.
do you see yourself? I mean, now that you've been around the system for a year, like there's going to be some young receivers. Is there any kind of role you want to have with the team when you're not able to play?
Yeah, I mean, being able to help the young guys. I mean, I think that's a big thing for me. I think as a teammate, as a player, I like to make people better in any way I can, where I'm on or off the field. I think, like I said, that's where I get my fulfillment from is being able to help others and see others excel from helping them and stuff like that. So, I mean, I've been to school with Josh Jackson before over at OLU for a year. So that's my guy right there. And obviously Gary is another younger guy, and being able to just be on the sideline and just talk through certain situations and why people do this, why they do that on and off the field. I mean, I think that will probably be my role, and that's the best way I could probably help the team this year. So
you and Brew McCoy were sort of tied in like these 2 5-star receivers that didn't get to play last year. What have you seen from him? I mean, obviously there was a lot of people expecting both of you guys to come in and contribute, but what have you seen from him, like kind of getting ready this offseason too?
Right. I mean, all I can say, it's Brew McCoy. Like, like that's my boy right there. I know he's working to get better. I know, obviously, when he heard the news, he was a little hurt about it just because that's my guy right there. And I've always had respect for him, and he had super high respect for me and stuff like that. And that's my guy. Our families are pretty cool with each other and stuff like that. So we were excited to just get the chance to play with each other. I even know the spring practice, we would come off the field and be like, bro, we got to score here, bro. Like, you got to score, I got to score, someone's got to score, bro, because I'm not going to hear defense all day. And then, like, that's just the type of, like, relationship we have. We're both very competitive and stuff like that. So I know he's working and he's getting ready for season. I'm excited to see him excel. I know he's going to do great. So
you talk about Michael Pittman being kind of a mentor. Did you learn anything from Amon-Ra St. Brown out there? He was young too, but
right,
obviously a big contributor on the team.
Right. So Amon, I've known Amon since 6th grade, maybe.
You've known these guys a long time.
Yeah, like Amon, I've known them for a while. So I've been in school with him for a while and known him for a while, stuff like that. So I feel like I've picked up a lot of things from him. I feel like me and him mentally are a little bit similar. So we kind of always bounce ideas off each other, like the way like stuff is going, and even in life, just even why people are doing this on the field. Like, bro, why did he do this and that? And we're like, oh, we kind of talk it through and stuff like that. I think Amon, where people don't really see him or like give enough credit to him for, is his mental. His mental is off the charts. Like like the way he thinks and stuff like that. And I try to pick his brain a lot. I mean, I feel like me and him think a lot like in football and life and stuff like that. Parents are very similar, and I think that's the main thing. I try to pick his brain a little bit, and just be like, hey, bro, why'd you do that and that? And then he'll tell me, I'll be like, okay, that's what I was thinking too, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
What about the physical aspects? Because I mean, obviously he comes from a weightlifting kind of background. Did you talk to him about building your body as a receiver at all?
Right. I mean, I feel like sometimes like we'll get on each other. We're like, hey, bro, looking kind of skinny. You're looking like this and that, and we'll kind of mess with each other. I don't think we've ever been in like very serious talks about it, just because we're both physical, and I feel like we're both built in our own way, and we're both bigger, I feel, stronger receivers. But I don't think we've ever had like certain conversations on stuff like that. Yeah. Just kind of joking around and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
Right.
The guy that throws you the football, Keaton Slovis, what did you see from him, and what do you think makes him such a special quarterback?
Well, I know, because obviously when you go to play football, you have friends back home, and then they text you and stuff like that. I remember when JT had an unfortunate injury, and Keaton was coming in, and people was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? And I said, bro, don't worry about it. Like, he's a baller. Like, don't worry about it. So when he started going crazy, everyone started having crazy, going crazy. I was like, bro, that's Keaton. I didn't have any doubts about him. I knew he's a baller, and he's done this all the weeks in practice, so it's nothing new. So I just I just have full confidence in him, and I just seeing the way he's progressed throughout the season, and just being able to make the right reads and put balls on the dot. I remember towards the end of the year and mid to the end of the year when I started practicing more and more, me and him were just connecting in practice and killing it out there. So I just love his arm and how accurate it is, and how he just puts you in good positions as a receiver. That's all you could ever ask for, right? I think the one thing is never fun as a receiver getting thrown into people and getting blasted and stuff like that. And he's very good about that, making his read and stuff like that, putting the ball right in your chest and stuff. So he's great. He's going to be amazing.
The DBs you go against in practice, anyone kind of stand out to you, or some attributes that you like of some of those guys on the defensive backfield?
You know what? I think my favorite guy to go against, and I love going against everyone. We have some good corners out there. I mean, OG, Isaac, everybody is out there, and really good players. Chris out there, everyone. But I think my favorite to compete against is probably Greg. Okay. I love competing against Greg Johnson because he's a bigger dude. So, like, we be trying to get, like, more physical and stuff like that. So it's fun going against him. And he likes to compete a lot, and we be talking back and forth in practice, and it goes back and forth. And I think he's probably my favorite to go against for sure, because he's bigger. So it's like someone to kind of match a little more physicality and stuff like that. So
makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
We had a YouTube question from PDX. That's a pretty long name. It says, so he compares you to Juju Smith-Schuster, but question, who have you modeled your game after, and which wide receivers in the room do you think will step up this year?
Okay. So addressing the first part about who I've modeled my game after, I think the reason why I wear 81 is Calvin Johnson. So I always picture him. He's a bigger guy, and my main thing, I think my main attribute is jump balls and stuff like that, and being able to go up and get balls and come down with them pretty consistently. And I think that's what Calvin Johnson does very well, and being able to high point the ball, look it in, catch it over defenders and stuff like that, but still be able to get out of routes quick and be fast and physical. I think that's where I've watched a lot of clips about him and on him, and studied his game a little bit and try to model some of that into there too. And for the second question, who do I think will step up in the receivers room? I think, everybody looks good. I'm not going to lie. Like, I know it's a direct question to a singled out receiver, but I think everyone's going to step up the way our receiver room is set up. Everyone has a chance to step up, and I think everybody will. I know Gary and Josh have been looking really good. Drake London, obviously, he was starting to ball like through that mid-season to the end, balling, killing it. Obviously, Brew's going to step up as Brew. Like I said, I already talked about Brew. Tyler, Amon. I mean, there's no, wrong pick in there. So, I mean, I'm just so thankful that we have such a good room in there. So, I think everyone will do their job and step up for sure.
On a similar line from Leon, who do you think will have a breakout season from USC this year from any position? I mean, there's a whole new defensive staff. I don't know if anyone you think that maybe didn't get a lot of run last year might, be a big contributor this year or anything like that.
Right. Shoot. Man, I think honestly for me, and this is obviously I think highly of all of my teammates, and I think the people out there are supposed to be out there, and just I'm really, really happy. But y'all better watch out for Solo. I'm gonna tell you that. Y'all better watch out for Solo because he's gonna come off the injury, and he hasn't played for 2 years. He's got a lot built up in him, and he's ready to go. I'm really excited to see him. I'll tell you one thing. I'm glad he's on my team. I'll tell you that. I'm glad he's on my team. So I'm excited to see him do what he does because everybody knows Solo. Even out of high school, killing it. I think he was 5-star too, top rated linebacker in the country. So he's gonna ball. I'm so excited for him to be back. I'm so happy for him. He's worked so hard and been in those rehab and stuff for a couple of years now. I'm just excited to see him ball out this season. So.
Yeah, there's like maybe this kinship between like you and Brew, and so the guys that came in with highly touted all these accolades and then weren't able to play right away. So you guys are kind of a little fraternity there or something.
Seriously, crazy.
So the rehab process you're going to be going through now. I know USC hasn't announced when players are coming back. We talked to Talanoa last week, Talanoa Funga, and because he was going through the shoulder stuff, the rehab, he was actually going to be on campus some. Is your plan at all to be back on campus? You can do most of this at home, or what are your plans right now?
Honestly, I have no clue. I'm still talking. I'm still talking it over with my parents. Obviously, that virus stuff is no joke, and it's really scary. And potentially bringing it to your family and stuff like that is never as fun. So I think I'm still thinking it through. And obviously, like I said, I'm going up there every Friday to go check in with them and do rehab on Fridays. So I'm keeping that same schedule until anything is further and I'm informed about and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
I know. Do you feel like, because we talk about this, the media talks about college football coming back or any of the sports coming back. You guys are the actual players that have to, do it. It's like, I think football is a really hard social distancing sport, but if you weren't, if you were really just coming back to play, you didn't have the knee injury. Do you feel comfortable? Like, do you feel like, the protocols that everyone's putting in place, do you feel like, okay, these are going to protect us, or is there apprehension there? Cause like you might see your family. I mean, what do you think about all of it?
Yeah. Shoot, I think there's no real way to go out there and say no one's going to get it for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's the scary part because you never want to be the guy that gets it and has to be in quarantine, especially me as like you. I know you said obviously if I wasn't hurt and stuff like that, but being hurt, it's scary to have to maybe be set back weeks in rehab and stuff like that. Obviously, if you're quarantined and stuff like that, which is a little bit scary. But I think it's like more of like a country issue. I think just a lot of people in our country are just kind of sweeping it under the rug right now, especially. And obviously a lot of players going back. It's a little more concerning when a lot of people are getting the virus like Clemson had their little thing go on. LSU had their big number of people going on, Kansas State, Texas. And you read about something new every day and you just don't want to be that one that pops up on the Twitter feed.
Yeah. You're like, you don't want to be, Kyle Ford. You're like, it's bad enough to read Kyle Ford, ACL injury. Like, Kyle Ford gets coronavirus,
Right.
What's weird, I just came, literally just came from the dentist office. So the first time I've done something like that, and like they put like eye shields on you, and the dentist had they had 2 masks on and a face shield and gloves, right. And you feel pretty safe, but you're still like, I don't know, like you're out there, you don't know what's going on. I would think it's something similar where you're just like, hey, I'm out here. It seems like a controlled environment, but just you don't know.
Right, exactly. And like you said, like with those workouts and the masks and stuff. Almost like, shoot, I might be glad I'm not running with the mask on right now. Shoot, I wouldn't be able to breathe and stuff like that.
That's a weird one for me too, because like I've been doing workouts in my like Zoom workouts, so probably similar to what you guys do with Awesomeness or whatever, but in my
Right.
driveway, or I have a bike. And I don't think I'm comfortable going back to the gym. I don't know if I want to work out with a mask on. I don't know. Maybe I haven't really tried it, but yet all those
It's
things are
scary.
just like a little different, you know?
Right. It's scary, especially those gyms. You don't know if people are wiping down their bars or wiping down whatever they're doing. I think at gym, it makes it even worse. You don't know the people at the gym. Like, you don't know who family member had it or they had it. And, oh, man, it's a scary world to live in right now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I think a lot of people talk about, you know, I'm a guy pushing 50, so there's more risk there as young players. But I mean, we've seen young people get infected too. I mean, it's not like you guys are. It doesn't sound like you're unconcerned. I know maybe there's some young people that don't worry about it, but you don't seem like one of those people.
Yeah, of course. I think for me, it's obviously a lot of younger people aren't affected by it, but I don't want to be the one that brings it to my family and
Yeah.
has something wrong with my family or something like that. That'd be, I wouldn't be able to handle it right. That's like the last thing I probably need right now.
No, I 100% agree with you there. We had another question on YouTube.
Right.
Can we know where you can improve your game, and what do you like to go against, smaller cornerbacks or tall and long cornerbacks?
I think for improving my game, I think more of obviously general stuff like speed and stuff is always going to be a general answer, but I always like to improve mentally, being able to understand why people do the things they do, or why he moved like this, or why he moved like that when I moved like this. Mentally, I think that's everyone in college is athletic. Like everyone at a D1 school playing high level football is going to be athletic. What's going to separate you is your mental. So I think that's my main part that I want to do it, and probably a little more flexibility. I've been trying to stretch a lot and handle this rehab differently than last time, and be able to keep my weight down and stretch a lot more and be a lot more flexible. So I think those are like three things that I really want to improve on. And against smaller cornerbacks or tall and long.
I mean, I guess they're assuming the smaller ones are faster. I don't know. It's
Man,
yeah,
I
I
think
guess.
it depends. If he's small and weak, that'd be cool. But there's people that are smaller corners like Max Williams that are just ballers, and he's just one of the. I think I've always told everyone he's one of the hardest corners I've ever gone against. He's just mirroring you the whole time, and it's just like you can't get too tricky, or is he just gonna sit there and look at you like, bro, are you gonna do something? Like every time I go against, I'm like, bro, I just gotta go or something. I just gotta try to be a little bigger. But I think honestly, I would take a longer armed, weak corner than probably a smaller one, to be honest. Because I like you be able to, they start reaching at you, you be able to play with them a little bit and hit their arms and be physical with them and be able to pull them and all that and stuff. So that's the type of stuff I really like to do. So I think maybe like that. But when you get a long, stronger corner, I know like one of the people I give really high praise to and is Elias Ricks. I think Elias Ricks does that very well, and I think he's been one guy to be like a stronger, like longer corner that's be able to move really well. So I think if it's like him, I mean, it's kind of like pick your poison with him because he's really good. So like being like, obviously you really got to do everything right to beat him and stuff like that. So for sure.
Yeah. Max Williams just like relentless. You know, he's just always. He was always on you. Give me a couple quick ones, and we'll let you go. We do appreciate your time. Spending some time with us. USC fans, high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a reason why this is a chance. This USC team has a chance to make the college football playoff this year.
Shoot, I mean, you see a little glimpse of it last year. Even last year, we have our glimpse of just like killers on the team. Obviously, when we play teams like Utah, you see it. And I think a lot of young guys over even just a year have grown, and being able to have people like Drake Jackson and stuff like that, young guys step up to be able to mesh together with those big guys. And we still have a very talented wide receiver room, very talented quarterback, very talented line, very talented defense, new defense coordinator that's really good, and new cornerback coach, really good. I think we just are finally, we're putting together the pieces and it's starting to mesh a little bit. And I think even the culture is starting to change with double A's, his program and setting the standard is just whole different. People holding each other more accountable than I feel like when I first came in. Obviously I was part of that change. I felt like when my class came in, that's when everyone started to buy in and everyone started to come together. And I think that's going to probably be shown this season and maybe even better than next season and as it grows on and on, especially with the more talented classes that we just keep getting. It's going to be pretty special.
All right, one last one for you, Kyle. Again, appreciate the time. Injuries, like you mentioned, it's football.
Right.
It's a part of it. You've been through this, once, and you're going through it again. Any advice you would give to maybe a young football player out there who's maybe experienced an injury for the first time and just all they see is like 9 months of not unsure of what's going to happen? Like, what advice would you give someone that's just going through this for the first time?
Right. I think the main thing for me is you got to find something that you couldn't do the day before. I remember for me, the first time I was that kid that you're talking about, I was thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get here, bro. I just did really good in the offseason. Now I'm never going to play good again. And it's just all be positive, bro, because there's going to be stuff that you're going to have trouble with, and rely on people around you. I think that's a big thing. Rely on people. If you're really struggling like that, rely on people around you. Find something in your head that, okay, I think a lot for me is like I think about like my family. I want to be able to provide for them and give back to what they think about that in your head when you're feeling weak and stuff like that. Like, just think about that, and it'll push you through it. And rely on people around you, and everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to go back to the way it was if you just work the way you were, and God's going to carry you through that, and he's going to get you through that, and God always has a plan for you. I mean, I think that's where I put like a lot of my faith in. I mean, obviously I was asking why me when it first happened, but then I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a reason for this. He's always looked out for me my whole life. He didn't bring me all this way to just drop me off, So I put a lot of faith in that. And like I said, I think I already said it, but main thing is find something every day that you couldn't do the day before. I remember when I start this, I'm like, okay, I didn't do too much, but at least I bent my foot up, right? Or I bent my leg a little more, or today I put on my shoe by myself. Today I put on my sock by myself. I got dressed by myself. I was able to get in the shower by myself, stuff like that. It's just find little things. It doesn't have to be big. It's not like, oh, I couldn't walk yesterday, but then I jumped over a bridge tomorrow and stuff like that. It's just find little steps that you see progress in, and eventually it will build up, and you'll look back and be like, that was easy. Yeah. Stuff like that, right?
That's great. That's great advice, Kyle. I'm sure a lot of young players will appreciate that you've been through it, and you've been awesome. So thank you so much for coming on.
You.
Yeah, we wish you a very speedy recovery. Sorry you had to go through this again, but like
good.
I said, when we were messaging offline, the positive attitude you had, I was just like, people have to hear you because you just, I mean, it's the Trojan spirit right there. So we really appreciate you coming on and sharing it.
Appreciate you too so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. That's Kyle Ford. Everybody follow him on Twitter, Ford_Kyle6. Again, everyone wish him a speedy recovery. Thanks again, Kyle.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks you all for tuning in to Tunnel Vision. We appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you next time.